training!
What's going on, you guys? This is All Day Day 1 on the PS4, and I'm going to be giving you guys another Borderlands 3 build video. And with this build video I'm going to be giving is going to be a Moze one-shot, technically not a one-shot, but it's a Moze boss killer build. You'll be able to kill Graveward in like 2 to 5 seconds, maybe 10 seconds, depending on how bad the modifiers are hurting you. Like if you have less sniper rifle damage, less gun damage, and less elemental damage, then that might, and less incendiary damage, that might make your damage output way, or not might, but it will put your damage way low, but you'll still be able to kill Graveward within 10 to 15 seconds. Now, with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys a screenshot of the build that I'm using, just in case you don't want to necessarily watch the whole video and see how how I use these builds. But yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and show you the screenshots first. Alright, so now that I showed you guys the screenshots, I'm going to go ahead and actually show you guys how the build works and just pretty much everything about it. So first things first is, the reason why I went with Cloud of Lead is just so you can get the 11.25% incendiary damage, because with this build you're going to be focused around using incendiary damage. And I mean, incendiary damage is going to play a huge role in this because Moze can push the incendiary damage. Graveward has a health bar, which is only a health bar, no armor, no shield, and health takes more damage against fire. So you need to get Cloud of Lead, and then you're going to end up going with the Stoke of Embers, because that's a base of 30% increase in incendiary damage, which is a lot of damage. And then you're not going to end up going with Fire in the Skag Den, because you're not going to be putting out any sort of splash damage. So any type of splash damage, I mean, you could technically put out splash damage by throwing a grenade, and that would allow you to, or I guess, yeah, no, you would have to throw a grenade. I was thinking the Iron Bear, but no, you would have to throw a grenade or something in order to gain the increased splash damage. But yeah, it's just too much of a hassle to worry about that. And then you're not going to worry about Selfless Vengeance because you're not going to be reloading. So you will be getting experimental munitions though, because you will be hitting a crit, so getting that extra 10% base incendiary damage for that is going to be really good. Now, you're not going to go any further down in this tree because you won't need to. Obviously I have 1 of 5 points into Phalanx Doctrine, but that's because of the class mod. You do want to make sure you can get Desperate Measures, and if you can get Desperate Measures with 5 of 3 instead of 4 of 3 or 3 of 3, that would be even better, because as you can see, I'm at 83% increase in my gun damage for this particular build. I mean, regardless of any build, I'm using this passive, and with this amount of bonuses or boosts, it helps a lot. And you're going to be using the Deathless artifact as well, so your health is going to be at 1, as well as my Thin Red Line. It uses up all of my health anyways. And then for everything in the green, you are just going to go all the way down to Forge, basically, because Forge will allow you to regenerate your ammo. And yes, you'll be using click as well, but you'll be going lower and lower and lower in ammo, which your damage starts to go up higher and higher and higher. Now, you won't get the full 36% damage bonus until you're at like the last 5 shots in your round, in your magazine, so you don't worry about having to push for that max damage. But regardless, you are getting increased in damage. And then I have 4 out of 5 on match set because, I mean, 5 out of 5 would have been obviously ideal, but 4 to 5 is fine. And it's still a lot because you're going to be getting multiple, you're going to be using multiple weapons that are using the same manufacturer. The same manufacturer, the more weapons you have that is the same manufacturer, the more ammo you get. So now for the weapons that I'm using. Obviously, my main weapon is going to be the Molten Vicious Lyuda. It's not the best Lyuda, but it is definitely a great Lyuda. It is an anointed for the gunner, and it's fire. So with this, you want to make sure, if it is anointed, you want to make sure the anointed version of it is the one that allows you to get 40% incendiary damage for the next 2 magazines. And that means you'll basically have 40% incendiary damage forever because you're going to have a high amount of rounds in your magazine, and you'll be always regenerating your magazine, so you'll never actually have to reload, because it's basically on the next 2 reloads is when is basically when this buff wears off after you exit Iron Bread. There's no timer, there's no nothing, it's just, oh, sorry about that. But yeah, there's no timer, there's no nothing, it's just there until you reload twice basically. And then I'm using the phaser Infinity and then another Lyuda, but that's all because these are Vladoff manufacturers. As you can see, the Lyuda I'm using, or everyone that has a Lyuda, is going to be Vladoff, so make sure you have a Vladoff on the other 3 weapon slots. You're not going to be using them for any reason. Now for my shields, I'm using the rerouter shield, the health rerouter. You don't necessarily need the health rerouter. I think there's a rerouter that allows you to get shield, a max shield increase, or there might be one that also does amp as well, like an extra amp. But yeah, you don't necessarily want to worry about going with a health rerouter because of the fact that you're not going to need to go into health. You're going to be at 1 health bar anyways. And this is anointed, but it's for the Siren, unfortunately. I just took this straight from the vault. I put it in my vault, and I took it out because I was like, this could actually be really good for this, for Moze. And I even use it on my explosive build as well now. And I'll be posting a video on that as well later. And then, obviously, the Bloodletter is what you want to definitely go with. This one I have has the 10% Vladoff weapon damage. What would be ideal is, obviously, to have the same amount of passives that this has, the 2-1-2. But at least the 2 on the Desperate Measures is what you definitely want to go with. But on the stats, you want to definitely go with Vladoff weapon damage, sniper weapon damage, and crit damage. Those would be the 3 best, or even incendiary damage. Those would be the 3 or the 4 best stats to go with on this class mod. But regardless, I mean, it's hard enough to even get a Bloodletter with 2-1-2 and a specific stat that you need. So I'm not using the Deathless because I realized I didn't need to use the Deathless. Instead, I put an artifact on that has incendiary damage and magazine size. Magazine size helps so much, that 40% extra mag size. Instead of being at like 28 in the mag, I'm at like 30 or 40 or something, like, I don't exactly remember, but 40% more magazine size is a huge increase. Plus, it came with incendiary damage as well, which is definitely going to push my fire damage way higher for my Lyuda. And it's not the damage ticks, it's not the burn ticks, it's the initial hits that you deal. So it's per shot is what the fire damage is you're doing. The damage over time is just off chance. And then weapon reload speed is also added on here, but you're not gonna, that doesn't really matter because you're not gonna be reloading. It would have been better if it was like sniper damage or weapon damage or just crit damage. And the last thing I'm using is the recurring hex. It doesn't matter what grenade you're using because you're not gonna be throwing your grenades. I just have a recurring hex grenade on. But that is pretty much it with this whole video. If this helps you out, go ahead and leave a like, comment, subscribe. If you have any questions or concerns about this build, let me know down in the comment section as well, and I'll try my best to help you guys out to the best of my ability. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys some quick gameplay of me just going against Greyward. Now, with that being said, This build is definitely not meant to use in the slaughterhouse at all. I would highly recommend not using this build in there because you won't survive. You'll probably not put out as much damage as you think you would, but I just would not recommend using this build anywhere else except for boss fights. This build is amazing against bosses. It's not so great against, ads. But yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and go straight to the boss fights or the boss kills. So let's just go ahead and check out the modifiers real quick. So 50% less cryo, 50% less corrosive, 40% weapon. So all these are pretty much neutral modifiers. They do get an increase in health, shield, and armor by 45%. So they'll be a little bit more tanky, and he'll put up 40% more damage. But we're not using cryo, we're not using corrosive. So what you're going to end up doing is you're going to go ahead and go into Iron Bear while you're up here, and then just go ahead and eject as soon as you get down. And I normally just come up here when I do this. And he's dead. And I got hit. Whoops. But yeah, that wasn't too bad of a kill. It was a few seconds. I did miss shots, obviously, but it's definitely a really easy way of getting Graveward killed. It's definitely not hard to make this build. I did have a friend. Ooh, this is nice. I did have a friend who was trying to get a farm build for Graveward with his Moze because he's trying to make the Moze splash build or bomb build, and yeah, like this build helped him a lot with just farming Graveward. And honestly, all he needed was the Lauda and just a few of the artifacts and just the build itself, like the stats. And he was killing Graveward within a few seconds as well. He doesn't have a fire, or he doesn't have an anointed Lauda like mine, so he doesn't really benefit from going into Graveward. Actually, no, he has an anointed shotgun that I gave him, and this can work for you guys as well. So any other anointed weapons you have that has for Iron Bear or the anointed Moze or anointed Gunner perk that gives you the 40% incendiary damage, you can just go ahead and equip that on a slot and then just put that weapon on, go into Iron Bear, eject, and then switch to your sniper. And then that'll allow you to get that anointed perk. And I ended up barely. It's because I missed the first shot. Wonder what that was though. So minus 50% all gun damage. Basically, sniper rifle is still at 0, and 30% chance to reflect projectiles from back to players. So this was a pretty bad modifier setup, which is why it took me technically a full clip to kill him. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do this one more time. Hopefully we can get a good modifier so I can show you guys the difference. Like, not necessarily the difference, but how fast you can kill him with really good modifiers, or even decent, some type of positive modifier. If not, either way, this will be the last kill anyways. And yes, this is also on Mayhem Mode 3, True Vault Hunter mode. Just in case anyone is wondering. Alright, let me just go ahead and get this ammo real quick, because I ended up reloading. And let's check out the modifiers. So, this is perfect. I mean, we do lose 50% incendiary damage, but, I mean, it's not too bad, because we still technically have 30% more extra incendiary damage on top of that 70% elemental damage and 50% sniper rifle damage. So we're looking at around 100% elemental damage with that extra 50% sniper damage. This is going to be really nice. Alright, let's go up here. Ooh, almost slipped off. That was nice. I mean, it wasn't as fast as I'd like it to be, but that wasn't bad at all. And no legendaries on that one, which is fine. Also, don't be afraid to look at any of the purple or blue weapons, because they could also be anointed, or even the class mods, because you don't necessarily need specific class mods as well. Just in case you guys are wondering, like this right here, this isn't a bad artifact because of the fact that it gives you that 40% max size. But yeah, if you can find an artifact that at least gives you the desperate measures perk, if it can give you like 1, 2, or 3 desperate measure perks, that'll be awesome. With, you know, the sniper damage and Vladoff weapon damage, crit damage, fire damage, all of those, even a blue version would be really nice to have, because you don't need to have a specific class mod. You just need to have, or like you don't need to have like a specific named class mod. You just need to have class mod with those specific perk stats. But yeah, that's pretty much it with this video. If this helped you out, go and leave a like, comment, subscribe. This is All Day 1 on the PS4. Have a good day, good night, and peace.